Welcome to my weekly Torah on the Parshat, and thank you so much for watching. Theodore Herzl said, "If you will it, it is no dream." Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I have a dream." And this week we have another dreamer, Pharaoh. At the beginning of Parshat Miketz, Pharaoh has two dreams, neither of which could be interpreted by his advisors and magicians, or at least not to Pharaoh's liking or satisfaction. Suddenly, the butler remembers that there's this young Jewish guy in jail who had interpreted his dream a couple of years earlier, and as a result, Yosef is quickly released from captivity. Yosef listens to Pharaoh describing his dreams and offers his own interpretation, different than the interpretation that was given previously by Pharaoh's advisors. Pharaoh is absolutely delighted with Yosef's interpretation and showers Yosef with honor and with gifts. Well, that's the story, right? But if you think about it, this entire scenario is very puzzling. Let me share 3 questions with you. Firstly, why did Pharaoh like Yosef's interpretation more than the interpretation suggested by his own magicians? What did he find so compelling, so remarkable about Yosef's interpretation that made him go for it and think that his own experts had got it completely wrong? The second question is this. All Pharaoh asked Yosef to do was interpret his dreams, but Yosef did much more. He went on to give Pharaoh his detailed proposal to solve the problem of the upcoming famine. Really? Who did he think he was? Who asked him to solve the looming national crisis? I know that all Jews think that they have the solution to every problem, but I think you'll agree that Yosef was venturing well beyond his remit as a dream expert. Finally, there is another much more fundamental question. Why did Pharaoh have 2 dreams? If the message of both dreams was absolutely identical, namely that there would be 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine, why was there a need for 2 dreams? One dream would have been enough to convey the hidden message. So here comes the twist. That third question answers all 3 questions. Pharaoh had 2 dreams. The problem was that none of his magicians could explain why he had 2 dreams and not 1. Their interpretations all indicated that both dreams were foretelling the same future events. For example, that Pharaoh would have 7 daughters and then bury them, or that Pharaoh would conquer 7 nations and then be conquered by 7 nations, and other similar ideas. But the thing is this, Pharaoh could not believe that he would be shown a dream, or 2 dreams, just so that he could know what the future held. Because if he couldn't do anything about it, what would be the point of having the dreams in the first place? Prophecy is only significant if it offers the possibility to change what can happen. That's why Pharaoh could not take his advisors seriously, because they were only suggesting a fixed fate, and they could not explain why there were 2 dreams and why each dream was so significant. So Pharaoh dismissed their interpretations. Then Yosef arrived on the scene, fresh from his prison cell, and he explained that inherent in any dream is both the problem and the solution. In the first dream, the thin cows swallowed up the fat cows, but it wasn't noticeable that they'd eaten them, which Yosef interpreted to mean that the years of plenty would be totally forgotten. But in the second dream, when the fat bundles of wheat were swallowed by the thin ones, the dream didn't say that it wasn't noticeable, which means that it was noticeable. Yosef took this to mean that 2 distinct roads lay ahead for Egypt. Either there was one where all the food of the abundant years would be forgotten, or there was a road ahead where those years would not be forgotten, and even though there would be a famine, there would still be some hope for survival if the right actions were taken. So Yosef told Pharaoh what the 2 dreams meant. Even though there would be a famine, if he acted in the right way, there was an avenue for survival, which was what the second dream was telling him. Yosef's advice was not him being an oberchochem. It was an integral part of the interpretation. It was for exactly this reason that Pharaoh liked his interpretation, as that meant there was something that could be done, rather than just being told what the future was going to happen. Yosef and the magicians heard the same facts. What was the difference between them? It was the knowledge that there is no such thing as a fixed fate. we have the ability to change the course of our lives and become the positive possibility and not the negative. This is also the connection to Hanukkah. Matisyahu Kohen Gadol and his sons were watching Judaism crumbling around them, and in the hands of the Greeks and Hellenized Jews, everything was up for grabs. The fate for Judaism seemed certain. It would disintegrate and disappear. And it is even deeper than that. One of the predominant strands of Greek philosophy considers fate preordained. Originating with the famous Greek philosopher Aristotle, it is known as fatalism or determinism. Everything is preordained, and notwithstanding your actions, they are bound to happen. Judaism represents the ultimate antithesis of determinism. We believe that multiple options exist, and despite an almost 100% certainty of one particular outcome, the chance always exists for the alternative. We believe in choices. The Egyptian soothsayers represented the views of Aristotle and his successors all the way through to Nietzsche, while Yosef is the epitome of Jewish tradition, our tradition. And that is the difference between the dream as seen by the magicians and the dreams as seen by Yosef. Yosef understood that we dream of how things could be better. The magician's dream is not a dream, it is a nightmare, fixed and frightening. The dream of Herzl was a Jewish dream. Martin Luther King Jr. was dreaming of an alternative future for the United States. That was a Jewish dream. It was a Yosef-style dream, not a Greek-style dream. Hanukkah is a festival of dreams. It tells us that the future is bright. The future is better than the present. All we need to do is take our dream and turn it into a reality. Wishing you a wonderful Shabbos and a Hanukkah Sameach. Thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom.